Baker Mayfield hopped on Twitter, and last night he said almost 100%, M and I, meaning his girlfriend, his wife, and I just saw a UFO drop straight out of the sky on our way home from dinner. We stopped and looked at each other and asked if either of us saw it. Very bright ball of light going straight down out of the sky towards Lake Travis, which is out in Austin. Anybody else witnessed this? So Baker Mayfield saying that he saw a UFO. And you know what? I mean, I understand some people out there are going to be like, I don't believe in UFOs. I don't believe in ghosts. I'm a UFO and a ghost guy. I believe in both. I have seen a ghost before in Traverse City, Michigan. I've told that story. I save it every year for the Halloween Outkick. I'm not going to tell that story now because it's not the Halloween Outkick. You'll have to wait until October 31st or thereabouts. I don't know what day Halloween's going to be on in 2021. I haven't looked yet. But I have seen a ghost. I believe 100% that ghosts are real. I also believe in UFOs. And used to be if you said you believed in UFOs, people thought you were crazy. One of the wildest parts of 2020 had nothing to do with COVID or the election or everything getting shut down, the lockdown, sports not existing for several months. No. It was that the government released videos and basically acknowledged that UFOs were real. Now, we don't know what the UFOs were, how they came to be, what was causing them to exist. But it wasn't even front page news. The government came out and they said, hey, oh yeah, UFOs are real. Here's video that we took from our fighter pilots off the coast of California featuring unidentified flying objects that we can't identify in any way. And so many people just shrugged their shoulders. Now, do I think it's very likely that a starting quarterback in the NFL would be one of the witnesses of a UFO? Seems unlikely a little bit to me, right? Seems unlikely that there are 325 million people or whatever there are in the United States. It seems a bit unlikely to me that Baker Mayfield, one of the 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL, would be one of the guys to see a UFO. Like, the percentages just don't seem that great. But then again, some of you out there can be like, what are the odds that Clay Travis would see a ghost if ghosts are real? I understand that argument too. I don't know if Baker and his wife had been drinking. It does seem that ghosts and also UFOs are more likely to be seen if you've been consuming alcohol. Your mind plays a little bit more tricks on you. I might see a UFO and a ghost both this weekend because I'm going on a camping trip. Not that excited about the camping trip, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not the kind of person who likes to sleep outside. I think we have evolved as humans to build houses and to build condos and to build apartments, ceilings, roofs, walls. All of these things are incredible inventions. Why would I choose to sleep outside when there's plenty of good places to sleep inside? General position. But when you are a dad, you end up doing many things that you might not otherwise do. And so I am camping on Saturday night. I have been aggressively looking at the forecast to see how cold it's going to be. And it's not going to be that warm. In fact, as I look right now, it's going to be 30 degrees for a low. That seems cold to me to camp. Not going to lie. I'm going to have all three of my boys. It's a school camping trip. So my oldest son is in a school here in Nashville where I live. And the school is doing a group camping trip. And if you have younger children, you can bring them with you. So my wife was like, yeah, you should take all three of the kids. And then she and her girlfriends are all going out for a fancy night dinner. And they're going to have a great time. And I'm going to be sleeping, freezing to death in a sleeping bag. Dub, when's the last time that you camped?
I don't know if I've ever really camped like in a traditional sense. I'm trying to think. If I
when
have,
you say
it's been
you
back
haven't
in the day.
camped in a traditional sense, does that mean you've passed out drunk? Like, I don't understand what
I've slept
a
outside.
non-traditional sense camping would be.
I've slept outside.
When have you slept outside?
Oh, God. Number of times in college.
Just because you were drunk and you were just like
on the front porch, just passing out on the couch. We had
I don't think front porch.
We had an old couch outside on the front porch. Many a night spent there.
Okay, but I don't think that really counts as camping out.
No, it does not.
So I'm saying, like, have you ever slept outdoors intentionally?
I don't think I have. I'm with you, man. I'd much prefer a bed, personally. I'm not into ants and bugs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of an indoors sleeper kind of guy.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because when I was in college, so I went to college in Washington D.C., which is a city school. I mean, most people have been to D.C. You don't go to D.C. and think it's suburban or anything like that. So it's not really the kind of place you would think that you would camp. But I do remember multiple times when friends ended up sleeping in parks, like on the walk. Because there was back in the day, the subway in Washington, D.C. would stop running at midnight. So for people who remember the metro system in Washington, D.C., it used to stop at midnight. And like sometimes as you were a kid, none of us had cars, I should say. So when you go to school at a city school, like nobody had a car. And so you would either take a cab, and Washington, D.C. had like the most difficult cab system imaginable. They used to have a map, a zone, right? So you would travel from one zone to another. Instead of a meter, it was like you would get on one place and you would get off another place, and they would charge you based on how many zones you went across. And so it was always a scramble to get home after the bars closed. Most people there wasn't Uber, obviously there wasn't Lyft. Cabs weren't as common, and the subway would shut down. And a couple of times I remember people getting drunk and actually not intentionally, but just like bums, laying down in parks and spending the night there. And then like you would get up the next morning, realize somebody wasn't around, and you might go outside and find them sleeping in the park. That wasn't really camping out.